Hello everyone, I am Nikhil. Once again in this video, we will continue our chapter that is Dick Whittington and his cat. So, in the previous class, we have discussed some information or some life incidents that which occur in his life. So, we will continue from this. So, what we learned in previous class is that there was a young poor and orphan boy whose name is Dick Whittington, and how he come to England. So in the when he lives in the south and south side of England, he heard that a rumor that if one who goes to this street of the England, he gets his fortune or he becomes rich. So he instantly believed that and start his journey toward England. So when he reach at this street of the London, he finds a complete different reality from what he actually believes in. So in this way, he realized that there is nothing called golden bricks. So after that, he started begging and earn his living. After that, he meets a Mr. Fitzwarren who offer him a job. So we will continue from this. So Dick was given a home and living. He had smaller corner of the attic to sleep in, and his job was to help the cook. So after that, Mr. Fitzwarren gave him a job which is in the hotel, or which is in the which is was the, to help the cook. So he was given a home and he's living. He had a small corner of attic. Again, this new word is coming, so we should write it down, or we will see the meaning of this word, attic. What is the meaning of this word? A very small room inside a painted roof. That means a very small, or we can say a storage unit. So this type of part of the room is called as attic. A very small room inside a pointed roof. Pointed means मराठीत आपण ज्याला टोकदार असं म्हणतो. That means pointed. This part is called as pointed. In 1600 or still in England, some homes are designed in this way, like pointed shape roof. Pointed shape. In slum area also there is called pointed roof. In all our home are built like this. Buildings are built like this, but pointed roof means this type of roof, that A shape or V shape, ulat V shape. So, and his job was to help the cook with all pots and pans in the kitchen. So he was helping in the kitchen on and to the cook. So Dick's life should have been much better than before, but he still had too difficult to face. So after getting a job, this life should be in better as compared to the previous, because previous he was a beggar, he had no food. But after giving Mr. Fitzwarren giving him a job, he should have a better life, average comparison to previous. But still, he has two different difficulties or problems to face. So, what are they? We will see. First was that attic he slept in was overrun by the rats and mice. So, this is the first problem, that where he was living in the attic. In this small room, there was a lot of mice and rats. म्हणजे उंदीर आणि म्हणजे उंदीरच. At night, they were scampered all over him and wake him awake. So again, new word is coming. So we will see the meaning of this also. This is the second new word which is come, scampered. The meaning of the scampered is ran over and there. Means run into various directions, इकडे तिकडे धावणे. This is called as scampered. This is the new word. That means ran over and there. So this was his first difficulty, that mice or rats makes him awake at all night. So this was his first difficulty. After that, after time, he solved this problem by saving a few pennies he was paid and buying himself a cat. So definitely he got a job. For that job, he got some rupees, or in foreign country they call as pennies. In Indian terms, that's called as rupees. So after getting paid, he starts saving some pennies and he buy a cat. Why cat? Why not dog or other animal? Because he has problem with mice and rats. So for this, cat is a very useful animal. We all know that cat finds and eats rats. So that is why he buy a cat which chase all the rats and mice. Dick was able to sleep peacefully. So his first problem was solved because of the cat he was buying. So in this way, he solved this first problem by using his mind. So here comes other difficulty, which was not too easy to overcome. To overcome it is a phrase, or Marathi we can say a man. So you should also know that the meaning of this phrase. To overcome means to achieve, to म्हणजे जिंकणे, जे मराठीत म्हणतो की to overcome, to win, succeed in dealing with a problem, means success in dealing with the problem. Overcome. So again, and to overcome, not only overcome. To overcome. It is a phrase. So this his second problem, which was not easy to overcome. That means this word are very big as compared to the previous one. So let's go forward. Was cook's bad temper? Temper. Uh, Temper means attitude. One's attitude, or in Marathi we can say swabhav. Because the cook's bad temper. This cook has a very bad temper, or tempers means angry person. That means he gets mad or angry at very few. That means very small things, over small things. म्हणजे चिडचिड स्वभावाचा, रागीट स्वभावाचा असणे असं, म्हणजे रागीट माणूस. She shouted, and this was a lady. She shouted and screamed all day. Shouted and screaming means कल्ला करणे, रागवणे. That means he shouted and screaming all day, and would scold Dick and hit him with the wooden spoon. Scold means कल्ला करणे. Shouted at him and hit him with wooden spoon. Spoon means chamcha. We all know that. Wooden spoon means a spoon which made up of wood. So in this way she hit him a wooden spoon. So again this was his second problem, which was not easy to overcome as compared to previous. So he get hit by, that means she hits him with the wooden spoon. Like in early days when we were child, our teacher hits him with wooden stick. But in this case, this lady, which is a cook, hits him with a wooden spoon. Two different things, but similarity. Even when he was working as hard as could, and Dick, who was working as hard as he can, but त्याच्या बदली त्याला she hits him and shouted and screamed all day and scolded Dick. One night Dick decided he could stand it no more. After this incident, after this lady's bad behavior, he decided that I could not stand near her. I cannot tolerate her. And he decided what happened next. Early the next morning, before the cook was up, he set out with his cat and to seek his fortune elsewhere. And he decided to leave this job and go दुसरीकडे जाणे, elsewhere. Before cook was up, that means in the early morning. The two of them walked as far as Holloway on their way out to London. Then Dick sat down on a stone to rest. So after that, he wants to leave this city, and he's on their way out to London. Then Dick sat out on the stone to rest. He get some rest on the stone. It was 1st of November. All Saints Day. It was a All Saints Days. Like there was a different days in the year, like Mahatma Jayanti, or different days. So in this way, there was on the 1st of November, All Saints Days, and the church bells were ringing. The bells of the church were ringing. As Dick sat and listened, it seemed they were ringing out a message for him. So he was resting because he leave this job and try to find his fortune elsewhere. So this is the unique quality of this boy, that he always find his fortune anywhere else. Like when he lives in the village, he find his fortune. He wants to find his fortune in the England or London. but after that he not finds, he gets one job, but after that, because of the bad behavior, he trying to find his future or fortune in elsewhere. So after that, he's sat on the rock and he heard this message: "Turn again, Winton, thou worthy citizen, Lord Mayor of London." So this was a message for him, or this church bell ringing. So though is also different. It is a different one, old word. That means which English is now very modified and come up with the new modern words. So this is a different and old one word, which is called though. So I don't have enough space, so I write it down here. Though, Thou. Thou. This was the meaning of though is you. This was a old, or we can say ancient English word, which is called as though. "Lord Mayor of London," said Dick, "I should like be a Lord Mayor and ride a fine coach. Can I put up with a few scolding from cook, and if it is what it is in store for me?" So Dick and his cat retraced their steps to the Mr. Fitzwarren house. Luckily, they were able to slip back before they had missed. So after this message, which is called a church message, he again decided that he wants to go back and get his old job of which is helping the lady back, because he thinks that if I get this job back in the London, I will be the mayor of this city and I become very rich and people will treat me respectfully. So he again go back, and before they were all wake up or notice that Mr. Dick is not here, before that he come back and no one knows they were missed. So now Mr. Fitzwarren used to send ships far across the sea to trade with the over countries. So the business of Mr. Fitzwarren, as we discussed in the earlier video, that he was a businessman, which called as merchant. He used to deal product with overseas countries, that in foreign countries via trade in a way of sea. So he used to send his ship far across the sea to trade with other countries. He would load a ship with the goods. So the meaning of goods here is not good, bad in this way. Goods means things, products is called as goods. So you also heard that GST, goods and service tax. That means goods means product. He would load a ship with good loads for a captain and ship's crew to sail in faraway places, then they would bring back goods that could be sold at home. So he sends the goods to the foreign countries in the various part of the world, and instead of that he gets a different types of goods that which were he will sell in the England. So in this way he gets benefited, or he gets money in this way of trade. So next page. One day he called his household together. "I am sending a ship to the African coast to trade. So called means म्हणजे सांगणे or विचार म्हणजे he tell his family member that I am sending a ship to the African coast to trade. He said, would any of you like to send something of yours on it? He asked the question of his family members and staff that I am going to send one ship on the Africa to the Africa. So give some your personal things which were traded there. So he asked this question. You can then share in a profit if voyage is successful. And instead of the family member and the other people who will give their things, they will get a benefited, a part of the profit also. He clears it. Okay. You can be share in the profits if the voyage. The meaning of the voyage here again is interesting word, voyage. Voyage means a journey. A journey is called also called as voyage. In Marathi we call this word also yatra. Yatra. People goes on the track on different yatra in simple word. Everyone produce something except for a dip. Everyone gives their personal things or which were go and which were sell at the Africa. But Mr. Dick has nothing because he has nothing except his cat. Have you nothing of your own? Dick, Mr. Foswaran asked him a question. Asked Mr. Foswaran kindly, and Dick replied, only my cat. Because we all know that Mr. Dick has nothing. Because he came to the England or London with empty hands. He has no food, no money. So in this way he don't buy anything except cat, which were for his first problem. So in this way, in today's lecture, we see a next part of this lesson, which were related to Mr. Dick Whittington and his cats. So in this video, we see how Mr. Dick faced with two different problems, which is related to the mice and rats. So and he solved with using his brain. For that he saved some money and buy a cat which were kill all these mice and rats. So but he still has a second problem, which was related to a bad temper, a temper of Mr. or Mrs. Cook, which shouted at him all day, scolded him, and hit him with a wooden spoon. So after getting tired or getting insulted, he tries to move on and find his fortune elsewhere. So he early in the morning he leaves this house, which is called as attic, a room inside it, pointed roof, and he tries to go out of England, but after that he sat on the rock and he listened the church bell and a message for him that he will become a mayor. So he instantly believed that and comebacks when before anyone noticed it. So in this way, he coming back, and after that, Mr. Fitzwarren, who was a seller of goods and supplies, but and he asked to every family member, every household person, that if anyone you have to trade with or send it to the Africa, they will get a share in the profit also. Everyone gives their own personal things or things which could be sold at the Africa, but Mr. Dick has nothing to give except his cat, because he had no things on him, because he finds a new job at this time, because early he don't have any of this facility there. So in this way we learn this thing about Mr. Dick. So today's homework is you have to learn this different word which I write on this whiteboard. Note it down and read previous first part and this second part of this lesson also, and tries to read upcoming part which we are going to cover in the next chapter. So today's homework is learn today's new words, and second one is read the whole chapter, or we can say a lesson. So this is your today's homework. I hope you will complete it. So that's all for this video. Thank you everyone.